Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Congratulations. Hearing about you from John is extremely impressive. So kudos to you and congratulations on the journey it took to get here. WorldQuant was founded on the belief that talent is global, but opportunity is not. Looking back on my own life, I've come to believe there are two kinds of opportunity: the opportunities we create and the opportunities that we earn. Earned opportunities are doors we work hard to open. Created opportunities, on the other hand, are doors that do not yet exist until we build them. This degree is an earned opportunity. So is a prestigious job or promotion. However, recognizing a problem that others overlook and deciding to build a solution, that's a created opportunity. Let me tell you my story, a story of talent in search of opportunities. I came to America for the first time when I was 17 years old to study computer science at MIT. Up until then, I had no idea what code was. I had always used computers, but I had never stopped to think about how they actually worked. It had never occurred to me that every application I used and every website I visited had been written by another human being. I realized at MIT that if I learned to code, I could build anything I could imagine. 4 years later, after a lot of hard work, sounds like some of you have also put it in, MIT was not hard for me, honestly speaking. I was so glad I graduated. I moved to Silicon Valley and eventually joined Google as a software engineer. I was making more money than anyone in my family had ever seen. It looked like I had found exactly what I'd worked so hard for, hard-earned opportunity. And yet, just 7 months later, I left my job at Google and chose to return home to Rwanda. Most people around the world, especially my friends who, like me, had come to America from all over the world in search of the American dream, couldn't understand why. So many people work incredibly hard to come here, and I was choosing to go back. Looking back, I wasn't leaving a great opportunity. I was pursuing a different kind, the kind you create. While it might have seemed radical, that way of seeing opportunity and the world really didn't begin with me. It began with my mother and her generation. Let me tell you their story. Back in 1995, right after the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, many Rwandans whose families had lived as refugees in neighboring countries for generations faced a consequential choice. They could stay in countries where they had built their lives, careers, and communities, or they could return to Rwanda, a country devastated by a genocide, and help build it from the ashes. My mother was one of the many who chose to return. They weren't moving toward comfort or certainty. They were moving toward a mission bigger than themselves, a mission worth risking everything for, the opportunity to create a new country and become full citizens for the first time. I grew up around people who didn't just ask, where is the best opportunity for me? They also asked, where is the work that matters? Where can I help build it? That shaped how I came to see opportunity, not simply as something I go out in the world to earn, but as something I can create. Years later, when I chose to leave Google and move home, I realized I was making a similar choice. I wasn't moving toward certainty and a clear path. I was moving toward a bigger mission. At 25, I took a 70% pay cut to join a small technology company called Irembo as head of technology. A year later, I became CEO. Our mission was ambitious. It was to digitize all government services and make them accessible online for every Rwandan. It was the kind of opportunity I came home looking for, to help create something that mattered. Because no team had ever built software at that scale in Rwanda before, Irembo had outsourced engineering and product development to a Singaporean company. Our team had become experts at understanding local problems, documenting them, and sending them 8,000 kilometers and 6 time zones away for someone else to build. As you may know, Singapore has one of the most advanced digital governments in the world. But their context was not our context, and the software simply wasn't working for Rwandans. Adoption of Irembo's services remained low. At first, I thought this was a technology problem, or maybe a cross-cultural collaboration problem. Maybe we needed better processes and communication. Maybe we needed the engineers in Singapore to spend more time in Rwanda and better understand the local context. But over time, I realized I was solving the wrong problem. While I thought I'd come home to help build great products, my first job was really to build a great company full of builders and an environment similar to the one I had experienced in Silicon Valley. Thinking back on my years in Silicon Valley, I began to wonder, what actually makes Silicon Valley Silicon Valley? How could we build some of that in Kigali? Yes, Silicon Valley has incredible universities, remarkable talent, and abundant venture capital, but so do other cities in the world to varying degrees. I came to believe that what truly makes Silicon Valley special isn't just its resources, it's the shared identity that newcomers quickly adopt. It is a place where people see themselves first and foremost as builders. They don't wait for permission. They don't assume someone else, somewhere else, will build the solution. They believe they can, and so they do. The more I reflected on it, the more I realized that this wasn't unique to Silicon Valley. It was the same spirit I had grown up around in Rwanda. My mother's generation didn't return because someone gave them permission. They returned because they believed they could build a country that did not yet exist. That builder identity, however, did not yet exist in Kigali's technology ecosystem. And that's what I wanted to help shape, starting at Irembo. I wanted to create a place where talented people came to see themselves as builders, capable of creating world-class technology from Kigali for the world. I'll never forget watching one of our engineers, Serge, who had been with the company for more than 2 years, ship his first production code. Until then, much of his job had been writing detailed requirements for someone in Asia to implement. You could see the shift happen in real time. For the first time, Serge wasn't handing his ideas to someone else to decide how they should be built. He was building the future himself. Today, Irembo has hundreds of government services, serves millions of people every year, and was recently recognized as the world's best digital government service, as Charlotte shared with you. Looking back, I'm proud of the products we built, but I'm even prouder of the culture we built together at Irembo. And this is because people who see themselves as builders are capable of incredible things. They recognize opportunities where others see problems. They improve organizations they join, rethink and re-engineer processes, launch great products, build companies, and even rebuild entire countries from the ground up. Now, I have to talk about the elephant in the room, AI. Much of today's global conversation about AI and workforce transformation focuses on the opportunities AI may take away. It's a valid concern that AI might shrink some of the traditional opportunities we earn, but that is only half the story. The other half is that AI is dramatically expanding the opportunities we can create. For most of human history, turning an idea into reality was the hard part. It required capital, teams, expertise, and months or years of execution. Today, AI is increasingly giving ordinary people extraordinary leverage. This moment we're in reminds me of Serge shipping code for the first time. For years, he understood the problems he lived with every day, but he had to hand his ideas to somebody else. The day he shipped his first production code, that changed. It gave him the agency to act on what he knew. AI will make that same shift possible for millions of people around the world, whether or not they know to code or analyze data. The ability to learn anything and build is no longer reserved for a chosen few. It belongs to anyone who can recognize a problem and have the agency to solve it. In conclusion, I hope you graduate today optimistic about our generation's future. The degree and the global network you have earned today at WorldQuant University have equipped you well for the future. You have everything it takes to continue earning great opportunities. My hope is that you will also find ways to create new ones for you and others, wherever your careers may take you. Congratulations again, and have a wonderful graduation day.